Daily, the 1st of August. Oh, goodness me, where's this year going? Oh, yeah, blah, 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 normal stuff. I'm Stephen Ridgway. So, firstly, a quick update on yesterday's Twitter and Apple um, article. It does appear that Apple and Twitter have come to, or not Twitter anymore, X, have come to an agreement, and X can now be called X in the App Store. So my app, sadly, I do have Twitter. Um, my app updated today and is now known only as X. Although it did manage to muller all my logins as part of the upgrade, so I did have to delete the app and reinstall it in order to be able to log back in again. But there we go. So, as I said yesterday, thought Apple would come to an arrangement with Elon over that one, and it looks like they have. Air-gapped ICS systems are being targeted by sophisticated malware. So air gaps, I mean, basically having devices which are off the network it's a very reasonable approach to securing things, especially ICS devices where it may be difficult to maintain patch levels and so on and so forth. Um, so keeping these devices off the network is fine. However, if there are bug fixes, features, upgrades, patches, whatever, they have to be then applied using offline methods, as in normally removable media, one way or another. So the latest set of attacks based on attacking air-gapped ICS networks contaminates removable storage drives with worm that exfiltrates data. So basically, you infect the machine where the removable storage drive is connected, as in the one that you're using in order to prepare your um, updates, let's say. You then take the removable drive, put it into the air-gapped ICS device. That malware then runs, exfiltrates data, and from what I can tell, exfiltrates data back onto the removable drive. Installs any malware which is, blah, 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 whatever it may be. If you then take the if it isn't an absolutely air gap network, there may be ways of exfiltrating the data directly. But if it is properly air gapped, I think if you just then take the drive back out and put it back into a machine that has got connectivity, it will then upload the data. So there's some quite clever stuff going on here. So there have been deliberate attempts to obfuscate these actions, encrypted payloads, memory injections, DLL hijacking. Um, so it is worth being extra careful if you are using ICS systems, even if you've air gapped them. Be certain that any devices that you're plugging in. I mean, it goes back to the days when all malware was spread by floppy disks. Well, don't pick up that USB stick that you see in the car park and stick it into your machine to see what it is, kind of thing. It's the same sort of stuff. Make sure that you've got a process in place by which anything which is getting plugged into a device in an air-gapped environment has been checked in such a way that you know that it is not containing malware. So China's Volt Typhoon APT appears to be deeper into US critical infrastructure than have been previously realized. Now, we've spoken before about what nation state attackers may be trying to do. It is not always just as straightforward as information gathering. Chinese APTs are famous for information gathering. They just hoover up anything that they can get their hands on because it might be useful later. Um, Russia, on the other hand, has historically, or Russia-linked APTs have historically been interested in long-term persistence and the ability to cause disruption and chaos as a prelude to military action, one would think. Well, it does appear that Chinese malware is now doing a similar sort of thing, especially within the US, but I think anywhere in the West is likely to be considered a legitimate target. Um, Microsoft has observed Chinese cyber activity in Guam, focusing on military bases, especially because Guam would be part of the defense of Taiwan, were China to show aggression against Taiwan. Um, it's now been shown that the same malware is actually quite widespread across various bits of critical infrastructure. And the concept is be ready to disrupt communications if the Chinese needed, for whatever reason, to cause disruption as part of any potential action they wish to take. So, um, again, if you are running critical national infrastructure, communications, is critical transport, healthcare, power, water, any of these things, financial, obviously, any of these things that make life tick over normally. Just be aware of the fact that there are some very sophisticated attackers looking not to compromise you right now, how well to compromise you, but not to actually bring you down right now, but just to give themselves the opportunity to do so in the future. So it might be worth having a quick search in MITRE to see what Vault is all about, Vault Typhoon is all about, looking to make sure that you've got indicators of compromise or indicators of attack in your SIEM or your security visibility tooling, so that you will be able to catch things before they really kick off. And then finally, long-standing gripe I have with governmental overreach in all things cyber. The White House is looking to extend their Section 702 spying powers. Now, Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act allows American government agencies to monitor electronic communications of foreign persons outside of the US and people they confer with, including US persons. Now, the concept of this was to be used as an intelligence tool to intercept information around terrorist attacks or similar sorts of targets. However, it has been comprehensively abused over the years. It was introduced in 2008 and is up for renewal at the end of this year. Obviously, the US intelligence community is frantically lobbying to try to keep these surveillance powers. But given the fact that this does not require a warrant, so it doesn't require anything to be authorized at the point of interception. There are government agencies, FBI included, that appear to use this power in all sorts of ways that were never really intended when the act was made into law. So hundreds of thousands of FBI misuse instances have been recorded between 2020 and 2021. And in the meantime, very little has apparently been found to that would prevent terrorism. Yes, okay, the concept of what is legitimate and what would lead to terrorist actions is, I think, necessarily rather vague because you don't know what you don't know. However, it does appear that this particular act has been used to target US senators, congressmen, state level judges, campaign donors, political parties. Um, and it is hard to argue that those are preventing terrorism. Maybe they were, but it's difficult to know. So interesting to see what happens with that. Is question whether law enforcement agencies, because they have sweeping powers, have become a little bit lazy in the way that they do their intelligence gathering. I'm not sure. I suspect so. Um, but yeah, I'll have to see where this goes, because this again is kind of in the same arena as the online safety bill, or the online Let's Make Britain Less Safe bill, that's currently going through. The law of unintended consequences with these things. And as I've said before, governments that take an inordinate amount of interest in the minutiae of the lives of their citizens are rarely up to any good. Anyway, that's all from me for today. Hope you have a good Tuesday, and I will